preventing cancer in general. But, so this is for breast cancer, but unfortunately I don't have my colon slide, but breast cancer and colon cancer look pretty much the same, which is they're so much more common in developed countries like North America and Australia and New Zealand, and Argentina and Europe, and Scandinavia. And their very, very lowest risk of colon cancer is in India.
Oh,
very,
wow.
very lowest. But this is, and I don't know how much time you have, but because it's my favorite cancer and you're interested in it too, how could I not be interested? So Japan used to have the very lowest rates of colon cancer. And in one generation, if you lived in Japan and you moved to Hawaii, which is very common, so in one generation, so this is your rate, it went from about 8 to about 30. So it increased almost fourfold in just one generation. So these are the same people. They just moved to Hawaii, and so their kids had 3 times greater risk of getting colon cancer. So you'd say, well, what could that be? I mean, could their genes have changed in one generation? No, your genes don't change in one generation. What happened must be something in the environment.
Yeah, was it like the type of food that they was eating, or?
Right. All of those are really good questions. Probably should have. So, if you've seen anything about cancer, is that some cancers have gone really far down. Like stomach cancer used to be the most common cancer, and now it's one of the least common cancers. And you already know why lung cancer went up like this, because smoking. And then fortunately it's coming down. And colon cancer stayed up until about 1985, and then it started coming down. So I'd say the reason it's coming down is, well, certainly screening, and probably some other differences in risk factors. What's interesting too, again, when I show these slides, people say, yeah, but the differences internationally could be due to genes. But if you look back here, this is the original slide I showed you were people who were born. So this is like when I was born. Oh, this isn't when you're born. This is the year you're diagnosed. So very, very uncommon. And then same people, they live in Japan. As you move towards today, and it used to be that colon cancer was about the same in men and women, and now colon cancer is way more common in men, and increased a whole lot in women as well. So you can see.
Does that have to do with what the food they're eating only, or what's the reason for that? The increase in men, the colon cancer increase in men?
Well, personally, I think that smoking has a lot to do with that one.
Oh, okay.
But also a lot of other drugs that people
choose to do.
Right. This is actually not that great a talk. I need to find another one. And I'd be happy to send you these slides. It depends on, these are really, really big. Do you ever do PowerPoint presentations?
Yeah, we do.
Because they're, they take up a lot of space.
Okay.
So I teach a class at the U in screening and one in colon cancer as part of a cancer epidemiology class. So let's see.
So does screening help prevent all types of cancer? I mean, not all types of cancer. Like, so there's the inherited hereditary gene, the
HMPCC.
Oh yeah, that there's that gene. Versus the general colon cancer diagnosis.
Right.
Does screening help those both, or does it like help one more?
Well, sometimes I'll show you this slide. It's kind of creepy, but sort of that stain in the piece of this.
Yeah.
That is actually a very thin slice of tumor tissue from someone's colon.
From someone's colon?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So what happens is we ask for a piece of their tumor. So for some people it'll be really tiny.
Yeah.
For some people but it'll come out like a chunk, like a round chunk. And then that is put into
wax, like in a little, so it will come out like this. So the tissue will be inside and the rest of it will be wax.
Okay.
So, like a candle's made of wax.
Mm-hmm.
And what the wax does, it's called paraffin. It will preserve it so that the tissue doesn't, just like rot or anything.
Yeah.
And then they slice. This is another one of those, of the robot that I showed you.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to take a picture of that.
Yeah.
And, freezer where we store the samples. They have to be stored at minus 80 degrees.
Minus 80?
Yeah. So this is stored. So for example, you have this.
And those are samples of...
These are samples of either tumor DNA or blood DNA or just normal DNA.
Yeah.
Because some people don't have cancer, but we still get samples from them, and then we'll just have normal DNA.
Okay.
And that's also one way of, like, if you have a family, and, somebody in the family may not have cancer,
Yeah.
you still take their sample because we may want to test it. And then if they do have a carrier gene that is of high risk, then you just advise them to sort of get an early colonoscopy and keep getting tested regularly, because colon cancer is something that you just, it's not very noticeable and people don't know much about it. It's not like, it doesn't have the media hype like breast cancer where everybody is very
aware of it.
Mm-hmm. And colon cancer is known to be, it's very curable, so it's really good to have people tested early because it can be,
prevented.
I think it's more than 90% of people who are diagnosed with colorectal cancer early are cured.
Oh, wow. What happens when it's detected too late? Doesn't it spread very fast and becomes hard to cure?
Yeah, because a lot of people won't know that they have colorectal cancer, and if they find out later, then when they find out, they might find out that it's already spread to other parts of their body, and at some point, sometimes it might be too hard to control the cancer, or sort of to, what's the word, a colonoscopy, or to remove parts of the colon is not enough to get rid of the cancer.
Oh, okay.
And this is also another way of storing someone's blood. This is another thing we do when we receive someone's blood. We do little dots and store this.
And you test this for all types of cancer?
Yeah, I mean, this is our last resort. So if we run out of blood and we run out of everything else, then we go back to this, and we can use little cutout of this blood and use it for DNA testing.
DNA testing?
Mm-hmm.
And how would you, so I got my blood tested before for colon cancer, and they took the 3 tubes, and they told me that it came back like negative, like I don't have the gene or whatever. So what process does the people take that do inherit the gene, but it's not yet cancerous?
I think, from my understanding, they have to go and see a genetic counselor.
Oh, okay.
And advise them on how to deal with knowing that information, because I know that it can be kind of burdensome knowing that you have the gene but you don't have the cancer. And then they would advise you appropriately in terms of what measures you need to take in your lifestyle to,
prevent it from coming.
Lead a healthy lifestyle, don't smoke, limit your exposure to any carcinogens, and get tested regularly. Mm-hmm. And that's something that everybody should be doing.
Yeah.